and welcome to this overnight taste challenge. It's not dawn yet, but it's coming, but the days are still trying to get this right. She keeps pulling the wire. The days are still not long enough. All right. I have two Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. This is Colonel E.H. Taylor. Oh, no, stop it. Introduced in 2011. They have had a Taylor whiskey on the market since 1887. That's called Old Taylor. Ow! Get off my leg. Come here. I guess she's going to be disruptive. Probably have to put her out the room. But in 2011, Buffalo Trace Sazerac, they had bought the brand Old Taylor, had passed through different owners. They expanded the line with more gourmet, upper tier, higher tier bourbon. That's the E.H. Taylor line, but they still make Old Taylor, 80 proof. I don't know if they have any other proofs of it, but I'm trying to find that out. And it's going to go up. Come here. Come here. It's going to go up against Stedman Select. Now, this is the 2018 edition. That's the year it was introduced. Then it was replaced 4 years later by a new Stedman Select from Barton 1792 Distillery. So that changed. Okay, so it's a sour mash whiskey. It's 46 proof. Aged 3 years. It says it back here. Aged 36 months, 3 years. IWA Distilling Company Limited. If you know who the parent company is for that, then you'll realize that it is a cousin of Taylor. Let's say it like that. You got to watch it. It has this built-in pour, so it'll really flow fast. It'll gush out. It doesn't have any back pressure, like chug, chug, chug. Put it right there. Now the Taylor is expensive, hard to find generally, but it's around. I see people buying it when it comes in to availability, real cork. Now there's so many versions of E.H. Taylor. I'll show you. He took over the distillery in the 1880s, but he didn't keep it too long. Something happened. Don't know quite what happened. He sold it to a guy named Stagg, and then he sold it. No, you're not going to knock that bottle over. And then it went under different ownership over the years. And then the Sazerac company bought the distillery. And they changed the name from Shenley Industries Distillery to Buffalo Trace. All right. It's a copper, pretty deep appearance, dark appearance. This one is a lighter, more like amber than copper. Why don't you get up on your towel? Come here. All right, so let's look at the Hello, Drewski Brewski. Cheers to you. Let's look at the website. We don't have a website for Stedman Select because they never had one. And secondly, it's discontinued. There is a current Stedman Select. So here's the Taylor collection. The small batch is what I have. Then they have straight rye, barrel proof, and so on and so on. Let's see, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 different expressions. Availability is questionable. You might get it at the Sazerac House in New Orleans in regular stock. and they don't tend to mark up their price. They don't. Stay over there and play. Century old warehouses built by Colonel Taylor, so it's aged in the century old warehouses. This bourbon reflects his unroot of perfection and so forth, a sipping bourbon, uncompromising legacy of E.H. Taylor. Okay. Come here. Let's go out. Come on. Come on, let's go out the room. Come on. Come on. Here, go play with your sock. Out there. She's just too wound up this time of the morning. There's no use trying to let her stay. She's not going to stop going crazy. Now, if I do this mid-morning or afternoon, she'll be calm, like laying up there on her towel, maybe sleeping. But this time of the day, she's wound up. Talking about Crybaby, the kitten. I was sick yesterday, the day before. Saturday, I started getting sick. I'm feeling better today. Still don't sound great, but I feel a lot better. Not perfect, but a lot better. I'm going to try to avoid glancing down because if I glance down and see the darker product, I'll know it's the Taylor. Now, I saw Stedman Select at Walmart. That's where I bought it. It was $18.99 for a handle. Now, this was 2019. I found out it had come out the year before. Then I saw it at Total Wine and More. And they had both bottle sizes, regular bottle and this big one. And then I couldn't find it. They still had it at Walmart. And then one day I went to Walmart and they had a new Stedman Select. Different label design, different proof, different everything, even different distillery. So I was kind of shocked, But I don't know. I was saying this company puts out too many products. They got bourbons left, right, up, down, front to back, diagonal. But if they think that's the way to go, making so many bourbons, it's their company. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm not funding it. I just try them. I buy them and try them. Smells like bourbon. Now, I'm thinking the higher proof, 100 proof versus 86 should make a pretty good difference. 50% alcohol versus 43. Aroma, well, they both smell like straight bourbon. Nothing big there. No big difference there. Let's go with the taste. Cheers. Yeah, I hear you crying, but you wouldn't stop, so. Charred oak, vanilla, sweet corn, candy corn even that you get with bourbon. That sugar water, bourbons tend to have a sugar water flavor. Let's go over here. Okay, it's got all those characters, maybe a little sourdough bagel from the sour mash, and it tastes like it's lighter, lower proof, lighter. So I'm saying this is a Stedman Select. I got it right. Now, a lower price product, to say the least. You can get a regular bottle of the new Stedman Select, the current one, at Walmart for like $11.99. Great deal. It's worth buying. It can compete against other straight bourbons. I'm certain it can. Not in this case. It's not going to hold up against Taylor, but it's not too shabby either. Let me wipe this lens because it looks like it's got some dust on it. Let's see about that. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you in, but I know what's gonna happen. But I'm finished now, so all right. So the Taylor's a good deal more expensive, and it's a good deal, pretty good deal better. I wouldn't say extraordinarily better, but it's better. Such a rich oak. That's the character with this product. Rich, deep charred oak, and it's their number one mash bill, which is their low rye. They have a high rye mash bill. I'll show you that. Now, IWA Distilling is not associating itself with stop jumping up on my legs. She's come here. She's bad. All right. Buffalo Trace mash bill. Let me show you that little. See if I can get the photo. See if that'll come up big enough. Too small. Let's find a better photo. Yeah, here we go. All right, so I'm going to do a screen share. Come on. Now, if you go up here. Oh, yeah. You had to do it, huh? Anything that's propped up, she got to knock it over. I'll show you the screen share and you'll get an idea. So here's mash bill number one, low rye, 10% less of rye. And I know this is not just somebody's guess. This is accurate because I called Buffalo Trace on the phone 2 years ago, maybe almost 3 years ago. That's about 20 minutes. And she said, I'm going to call out, trying to name the low rye mash bill. She called out the products and I wrote them down. Then she did rye mash bill, 12 to 15% rye whiskey. Put that down. Then I compared what I wrote to this little thing that somebody put together, and yes, it matched completely. So their low rye is Eagle Rare, Old Charter, Georgia Stag, Taylor, E.H. Taylor whiskeys. Stag, Buffalo Trace, Benchmark. Benchmark very easily. Buffalo Trace easily. Benchmark's usually about $14 a bottle or less. Buffalo Trace about $24.99, $23.99. I can find it, but I'm not going to search for it. Taylor, same thing. Same thing. Charter, Old Charter, easily found. Walmart always has it in stock. Eagle Rare, hit or miss. Let's see, Ancient Age, I can get that in a snap. That's the high rye. Elmer T. Lee, no, got to request it. Rock Hill, request it. Hancock, same thing. Blanton's, got to wait on waiting list like you begging for it. They make rye whiskeys. Sazerac, the special Sazerac. Thomas Handy. The weeded fill is Weller. They're showing some old Weller bottles. They don't use those bottles anymore, although they use for other products such as Hartley Brandy and Two Star Bourbon. William Weller. Okay, so, and then they have the Pappy Winkle, which is done in collaboration with Trace. Pappy Van Winkle family's still involved with it, but they don't have the money to do their own thing and get it on the market. So they license Buffalo Trace to do their products for them under their strict supervision, of course. Now, why is Stedman Select detached from the Buffalo Trace name using IWA distilling? Even though if you do your trademark data, if you do your trademark research, you'll find that IWA Distilling is a brand of Buffalo Trace. IWA Distilling is not a separate company. It's not a division of Sazerac Buffalo Trace. It's simply an alias that they use for many of their products. So I don't know the reasoning for that. That's it. Come on. I knew you were going after those wires. Come on, because you're going out. Come on. So I don't know the reasoning why they detach certain things they make from the. Don't lay there all cute like you didn't do anything, trying to be all innocent. She's laying on the floor on her side like, what did I do? I'm just listening. But that is the reality. They do produce a lot of bourbons at Buffalo Trace, and they don't put the Buffalo Trace name on it. I can think of this one here. Well, now it's made. The new Stedman Select is made at Barton 1792 Distillery, which is also owned by the Sazerac Company since 2009. There's a bourbon that they sell at Albertson stores. It's a private label called, I can't remember. I have a bottle I haven't opened yet. So I'll bring that into play eventually. There's the Trader Joe's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. If you look at the bottle carefully, regardless of what alias name they're using, you can tell it's made by Buffalo Trace. It's clearly them, but they don't have their name on it. I guess there's some kind of reasoning behind it. I don't know what that is, but that's it. Sazerac has 3 distilleries in Kentucky. They have Glenmore in Northwest Kentucky, Owensboro. They have Barton 1792 in Bardstown, Kentucky, in the same town that Heaven Hill is located. They have Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky. So if you see these products with this weird name, like IWA Distilling, the Legacy Company, Founders Distilling Company, or what they call it, the Founders Company, it's all Buffalo Trace. But that's how they want to do it. And then they have their own products that they put their name on it. So it's a mystery in a way. But anyway, Stedman Select, good product. They've got a thing on the back, a write-up, kind of like the E.H. Taylor, big write-up about, the Stedman's legend. I don't know where this is a legend with anybody. When Ebenezer Hiram Stedman and his brother Sam acquired their Bluegrass Region Mill Complex in 1833, little did they know that it would become an important part of Kentucky history. It is believed, who believes this? It is believed that in this very spot, Ebenezer Stedman first used the term bourbon to describe the local distillation that would become the drink of choice for whiskey lovers the world over. That is a question. It's not definitive. Where did the name bourbon come from? We know that the corn was grown in the old Northwest Territories and Kentucky. We know that it was easier to produce it as bourbon and ship it down the Ohio River and the Mississippi River, and it would come to New Orleans where it was sold across the world. Some people think that the name comes from Bourbon Street, one of the main streets in the French Quarter, the original part of New Orleans, which is probably true, which was named after the Bourbon dynasty, which in 1833 France was still under the control of the Bourbon, well, a branch of the Bourbon dynasty, they call it Bourbon Orleans, because it was King Louis Philippe of Bourbon Orleans. He said he was the people's king. He was going to be a democratic king, although as it turned out, he was a lot more authoritarian, not autocrat, but authoritarian. But that's France, when they have a democratic government, it's authoritarian, but it's not like the United States. In France, they can put you in jail for making statements. Like, you can say certain things and you can be prosecuted or fined or whatever. In the United States, it wouldn't really be that yet. Hopefully never. But so it might have something to do with the Bourbon dynasty, like King Louis the 14th, Louis the 15th, Louis the 16th, 17th, 18th, and all of them. But probably has more to do with Bourbon Street, one of the main, like I said, back in the 1800s, late 1700s, one of the main streets of commerce in the French Quarter. And, at one time, the French Quarter was New Orleans. That was the whole city. It was more like a town. And then they started adding areas to the city, across the river. New Orleans is one of those cities on both sides of the river. There's the West Bank and the East Bank, and the West Bank is only a year younger than the East Bank. They started building neighborhoods on the West Bank a year after New Orleans was founded. So, and that West Bank area is less prone to flooding, although the French Quarter didn't flood during Katrina. It's a little higher ground. The West Bank, Algiers, they call it Algiers. It's not a city, it's a neighborhood. Come on. I know you can't behave. Algiers is not a town. It's a section of New Orleans, like, how like Staten Island is not a town. It's a section of New York City. But so it's probably got something to do with that. And anyway, we know bourbon is like America's original liquor. Brandy was developed in other countries. Whiskey developed in other countries, but bourbon, America's unique whiskey. And that's the story on that. All right, so last chance on the Stedman Select. It's quality. It's still an A. Maybe like a 93, whereas the Taylor would be at a 97, maybe higher. Like, you wouldn't go too much lower than that. That's how good it is. It's like closing in on 100. It really is an amazing product. Blanton's an amazing product. I haven't tried the other ones yet, like the Rock Hill Farms or the Stag or all of those. Maybe one day. Even their shabby, if you want to call them bourbons, like Old Charter, Ancient Age, Benchmark, they're not too shabby. They're like solid, They can really compete against other companies' bourbon output. I would say, this is my opinion. Pro Beer TV, all the way from Germany watching. Thank you, Pro Beer TV. I watch a lot of his videos. I have to translate them to English, but he does a good job. Cheers back to you. You wore yourself out now. Look, she's worn out now. Watch, she's going to settle down and go to sleep. Why couldn't you do that during the video, when the main part of the video? She goes so crazy, she gets exhausted, really. All right, so now, do I expect E.H. Taylor to lose any of these challenges? The answer is no. I don't expect it to lose any challenges. In fact, I was saying yesterday, why even watch the videos if you want to save yourself some time? Don't even watch, because all you're going to see is Taylor beating it. I mean, it's interesting to look at the history of the other whiskeys, like I did today. That's interesting. But, and like, why is it called bourbon? And these kind of questions that there's no definitive answer for. But they used to call it red liquor or red whiskey. That's the original name. They call it red whiskey because it looked kind of reddish. But then the name bourbon, like I said, took off, started becoming popular, and that's caught on. And like I said, with the questions, why did they start calling it bourbon, and where did the name originate? And a lot of people think it's from Bourbon Street. And if you go to Bourbon Street, that's an interesting street because the street is many, many blocks. So most people that go to New Orleans tourists, they go to 3 blocks of Bourbon Street, the first 3 blocks. Nightclubs, restaurants, some really shady type places where I wouldn't recommend going if you have any kind of morals, But it's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be really, really shady back in the 70s and 80s, sort of like Times Square used to be. But they kind of cracked down on it. They didn't totally crack down on that. But if you keep walking down Bourbon Street, which most tourists don't do, then it becomes more of a neighborhood. Like if you keep going north on the street, downriver. You go north to go downriver, right? The river's very wiggly. But then it's just houses where people live. Beautiful houses, beautiful homes. But for whatever reason, tourists aren't interested in that, seeing a neighborhood. Well, to me, that's the more interesting part of the street, because it's just, and they might have a corner grocery store where they buy some groceries quickly, and a little cafe where people go eat. And there's a park, or a little small neighborhood park. But people don't, I don't know, I had some people come visit one time, and I said, let's go look at the other part of Bourbon Street. Oh, they didn't seem interested. They wanted to go to the party part. Let's drink. And I'm thinking to myself, don't they have bars where you live? I know these people have bar rooms where they live. In Indiana, they have bar rooms. But for some reason, people come to New Orleans and the first thing they want to do is go buy alcohol and drink all night. But seems to me you could do that at home. I don't know why you'd pay all kind of money to come do that here, but people do it. They do it, but anyway. All right, the clear and present winner, if there was ever any doubt, and there wasn't, is Colonel E.H. Taylor, not a real colonel. It was an honorary title like Colonel Sanders or Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis Presley, Colonel Sanders, fried chicken. Tomorrow I plan to bring in some Heaven Hill stuff. Evan Williams. Now, is Evan Williams going to be able to compete against E.H. Taylor? No, not in any way, but I'm going to still do the challenge. I don't know if I have any other Heaven Hill bourbons. I got to check. I think I went through them all, but I'll double check. And then I've got the Jim Beam Black, the old Jim Beam Black, the old 8-year age. I found that on a deal. Oh, what a deal. And that'll compete much better still will lose. And then I have a lot of like independent bottler bourbons, as they call it in Scotland, independent bottling bourbons like the Gooderham and Worts and the Jepsons and yeah, a couple of others like that. They're independent bottlers. They don't really produce the bourbon; they just bottle it. They buy it on auction, whatever. And yeah, those are pretty good though, actually. But they won't, like I said, they won't compete against Taylor. All right, well that's it. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, look for, and I might do it today because Wednesday is going to be a busy bee Wednesday. But look for Evan Williams versus E.H. Taylor. Well, that'll be interesting in a kind of a morbid type of way. All right, y'all take care now. Bye bye.